Have you gotten any closer to deciding who your starting offensive line is?
Great question. Yes, I have gotten closer.
How close?
Not there yet, honestly, with a couple of spots. There are a couple of freshmen who have kind of separated themselves from the rest of the group and have kind of put themselves in a position where they have a chance and are certainly going to be in our two deep. But we're not quite ready to say yet. There's just still a little bit more work to do, and what we're doing each day is just putting pressure on those guys and putting some different lineups together and just trying to really make it as intense as we can and find out who can handle the pressure and who folds under it.
Can you tell us the two freshmen?
Yeah, the two guys, well, you know, Patrick Miller, obviously, from the spring,
Right.
Has continued to progress, and he's a guy that's, I think, definitely going to be in the mix. As well as him, Avery Young and Alex Kozan have done a really good job, and for freshmen, have picked up the system rather quickly. Still, both, you know, all of them still have so long to go. But the position that we're in, we're committed to doing whatever we have to get our best five on the field. And the other thing that I would say is I've been in this position before, and we didn't start a true freshman the first game, but game 4 I started one at guard, and then game 5 I started another one at tackle. Not when I was here, but at another job. They may not be ready game 1, so that may not be necessarily an indication of where it ends up. But those guys have definitely done a good job for freshmen and shown that they deserve to be in the mix quite heavily.
Kozan's a guard only, right?
He's a guard. I think eventually he could be a center also. We're teaching him how to snap, but right now he's just working at guard.
Has Young played both guard and tackle?
Just tackle.
Just tackle, and Miller just tackle, right?
Yes. Yeah. But I'm pleased with the way that they're picking things up, and really we've added more than we did in the spring. As an example, in the spring we just kind of introduced our zone read package. You know, we've got a couple of quarterbacks, especially with Wallace here now, who's a quarterback that can operate back there and, you know, make decisions and keep the football or hand it off. And there are some intricacies involved with that play, especially for the offensive linemen, that a lot of people wouldn't understand. And those young guys have picked it up pretty quickly. But everybody's really progressed a lot with that play, and we've added a lot of the other pieces to it. We just introduced it towards the end of spring, but I think we're starting to see now really what we can do with it. And, you know, we've got so many good athletes, and I think that's the comparison that we're making to when Coach Leffler was at Florida. You know, we've got a lot of guys like Quan Bray, while he may not be a running back, you motion him in or you run the zone read, and then you've got someone as a triple option, so to speak, that you can pitch the ball to if the defense collapses on the zone read. So I think some of the things that we're doing are really going to help us, but those guys, I've been really pleased with how they've picked up some of the details.
What Christian Westerman, where does he kind of stand?
Definitely in the mix too. There are several guys that are really battling for a couple of those inside jobs, and he's one of them.
And this what other guys do, kind of Chad Slade situation, kind of depends on
definitely.
What other guys do, whether he plays guard, whether he plays tackle.
Without a doubt. He's a guy that can play either. And some days I look at him at guard and I think, man, he's a really good guard, and I think that's the best spot for him. But then the next day, because we want to look at somebody else at guard, we move him out to tackle, and then he looks really good at tackle. So really that has more to do with other people than him.
Are you really kind of running short on time now? I know you're going to make a decision here in the next couple of days, probably.
I think we'll probably make a decision at the end of this week and kind of know which direction we're going to start with early next week. But when I've been in this position before a couple of times, when it was that close, I ended up playing 6 guys and rotated a guy in there. And if we end up in a position where we just say, hey, these 2 guys are neck and neck, I'm not going to rule that out as a possibility either.
Has Kozan been a surprise?
I'm sorry?
Has Alex been a surprise in the sense that,
Not to me.
Pat was here in the spring. He got a chance to kind of go in and
Yeah.
freak of nature.
Yeah. You know, honestly, neither one of them were a surprise to me. Alex wasn't a surprise because his high school film was as good as any that I saw. And, you know, for a kid to play as a true freshman, they need a couple of things. One, obviously they have to be physically ready. Number two, they got to be smart because they got to learn the offense in a short amount of time. But maybe the most important element is a guy's got to be confident and emotionally stable enough to handle a lot of stress and pressure. And, you know, it doesn't bother him. I mean, he'll go out there and I can yell at him, or he'll mess up a play or get his butt knocked sideways by one of our big, more experienced defensive tackles. Doesn't bother him a bit. Just comes right back to the huddle and gets the next play and goes at it full speed. So he's got a lot of those intangibles, I think, that really give him a chance to compete, maybe better than some other guys at that age.
Did he have some pretty good coaching in high school?
Yeah, I think he definitely did. There's the thing that's been a challenge, though, is the style of offense they ran is really different from what we do and from what most college teams do. He was in one of those high schools where, you know, he had a lot of weight forward in his stance and had his butt way up in the air, and they're just smoking off the football. And, you know, unless you're in a triple option offense, you can't really do that at this level because there's just the athletes are too good on defense, and you end up missing them when they end up in a different place than you thought they were going to be in. So that's been a challenge for him, is just to understand how to play the game at the college level. But he has a great overall understanding of the game because he did come from a good system, was well coached.
Yeah, John Sullivan's situation, is he physically full speed, and how's he done?
He's done fine. He's in the mix too, but I'm not ready to say that he's. I mean, he's competing for a job too, just like those other guys inside.
Would you say Reese and Greg are fairly locked in?
Yeah.
Has he been able, Solomon, been able to kind of transition off of that injury back onto the field without much of a snag, or has it been pretty smooth? Or?
You know, the thing that set him back just a little bit was early. The first week of camp, and I was talking about this earlier, but the first week of camp, we were kind of building on some of the things that we had installed in the spring. And in the spring, we had just kind of barely introduced our zone read and a couple other things that we were doing on offense. And he missed that first week when we were really getting reps at doing a lot of the zone read stuff. And there's some small subtleties in that play that has just taken him a little bit longer to move forward with. But he's jumped back in, and you know, he's a smart kid, so he's figuring it out. But it has taken him a little bit longer because of the time he missed.
What do you like out of Pat Miller? What does he do that impresses you the most?
Just his attitude, his toughness, work ethic. I mean, he's a kid that he shows up every day, and he only knows one speed. And you know, like all freshmen, gets his butt kicked a lot of times, but gets frustrated and really gets angry about it sometimes because he's really, really competitive, but never gets down, never has a bad day in terms of his willingness to just come out and work every day.
What about Avery Young? What kind of sticks out about the way he's playing?
You know, number one, he's just a tremendous athlete. A guy his size is not supposed to be that light on his feet, but they forgot to tell him. But again, coming from a high school offense that's quite different from what we're doing, it's been a challenge for him to learn how to play the game at this level. But he has all the tools if he can. It's just a matter of how quickly he progresses, and then how quickly does he progress in comparison to some of these other guys. Anything else?
Appreciate it.